So, picture this. We're in the heart of the Mahabharata's Great War, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. It's chaos. And right in the middle of it all, one of the most confusing moments of the entire epic happens. A hero, a really powerful one, is struck down. His family is weeping, but their divine guide, the god Krishna, just smiles. Today, we're going to unpack that smile. Okay, let's just dive right into this because, it's a really jarring image, isn't it? The Pandavas have just lost one of their most loyal and powerful warriors. This guy was like a son to them. And yet Krishna, the one who's supposed to be their strategist, their protector, he reacts with a smile. You see, this isn't some simple story of good versus evil. No, it's way more complicated than that. And that smile, well, that smile is the key to understanding everything. So, to solve this mystery, we first have to get to know the man whose death caused such a strange reaction. We need to talk about the hero at the center of this whole thing, Gatotkaca. Now, Gatotkaca wasn't fully human. His father was Bhima, one of the 5 legendary Pandava brothers. But his mother was Hidimbi, a Rakshasi, which you could think of as a kind of giantess or demoness. This heritage gave him a foot in 2 different worlds. And, more importantly for our story, it gave him access to some immense otherworldly power. And don't go thinking he was just some big brute. No way. He was basically the ideal warrior, unbelievably loyal to his family and super humble, even with all that strength. He even fought with a mace, just like his dad. But his real trump card, that was his magic. And here's the really crucial part. His powers became practically unbeatable at night. That made him a terrifying and absolutely invaluable weapon for the Pandavas. And here's a little detail that I just love. It really brings the character to life. His name literally described what he looked like. In Sanskrit, Gautamam means pot, and Utkach means hairless. So yeah, this fearsome half-giant warrior was named for his bald, pot-shaped head. A pretty memorable name for a truly unforgettable hero, right? Okay, so let's get back to the battlefield because this is where everything starts to build. This is where Gatotkaca's incredible power and loyalty create a genuine crisis for the enemy Kaurava army, and it sets the stage for his tragic end. You see, the fighting at Kurukshetra didn't just stop when the sun went down. And on this one particular night, that turned into a fatal problem for the Kauravas. Because under the cover of darkness, Gatotkaca unleashed his full magical power. He became this terrifying, unstoppable force of nature, just flying through the air and single-handedly destroying the enemy legions. He was basically winning the war for the Pandavas right then and there. So as you can imagine, the Kaurava leader Duryodhana is watching his army get torn to shreds, and he starts to panic. He sees only one way out of this mess. He turns to his ultimate champion, the legendary warrior Karna, and pretty much begs him to stop Gatotkaca, to take this monster out of the sky by any means necessary. So what did Karna have that nobody else did? He had the Vasavi Shakti. Now, this wasn't just some powerful arrow. Oh, no. This was a divine celestial dart, a gift from the god Indra himself. It was an absolute weapon. It could not miss, and its strike was always fatal. But here's the catch. It was a one-shot deal. He could only use it once, ever. And this just perfectly shows the impossible decision Karna was facing. You see, he wasn't just saving that divine weapon for a rainy day. He was saving it for one specific person, his lifelong rival and the Pandavas' greatest warrior, Arjuna. So using the Shakti on anyone else, even a massive threat like Gatotkaca, meant giving up his one guaranteed way of defeating his arch-nemesis. So there he is, caught between his duty to his king and his own personal destiny. Karna makes his choice. He hurls the Vasavi Shakti, and for all his magic, for all his power, Gatotkaca stood zero chance against a divine weapon. He was struck right out of the sky and killed instantly. It was a devastating blow to the Pandava army. So the Pandavas are just shattered. They've lost a son, a warrior, a hero. But right there, in the middle of all this grief, Krishna, their guide, their confidant, is seen smiling. And this brings us right back to our big question. Why? What on earth could be worthy of a smile in such a tragic moment? Okay, so Krishna's smile, it wasn't about being cruel. It was because he was seeing this whole thing on 2 completely different levels, as a master strategist and as a cosmic judge. First, the strategist. He immediately got the trade-off. Gatotkaca's tragic death had just saved Arjuna's life. The infallible Vasavi Shakti was now gone.
Used up, off the board. The path to their ultimate victory was suddenly crystal clear. But that's only half the story. There was also Krishna the cosmic judge. And you have to hear this quote from the Mahabharata. It's just stunning in how direct it is. Krishna explains that for all his loyalty, Gatotkaca was, because of his Rakshasa nature, an enemy of Dharma, the cosmic order. He says very plainly that Gatotkaca hated holy men and sacred rituals. So from this divine point of view, his death was actually a necessary act of cosmic justice. And then comes the kicker. If Karna hadn't done it, Krishna says he himself would have been forced to kill Gatotkaca eventually.
So what does all this mean? Well, this entire gut-wrenching story is really a masterclass in the concept of dharma, that incredibly deep, incredibly complex idea of duty, righteousness, and cosmic law. It shows us that what we call good is almost never simple. And this right here is the central lesson. The death of Gatotkaca wasn't just one thing. It was a heartbreaking personal tragedy for the Pandavas. At the same time, it was a cold but brilliant strategic victory in the war. And, from Krishna's divine perspective, it was an act that restored cosmic balance. These three truths don't cancel each other out. They all exist at the exact same time. Which leaves us with a really profound final question, one that this story forces us all to think about. How do we judge an action? I mean, is an act good because of the intention behind it? Or is it about the practical outcome it creates? Or maybe, just maybe, as Krishna's smile suggests, its true nature can only be understood by its role in some vast divine plan that we as mortals can never fully see.